Really good. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. I just had to turn on the record button because we weren't recording. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for coming on tonight, Jennifer. We're really excited to hear from you tonight. So tell us a little bit about you.
So I'm a wife of 20 years. I'm a mom of two boys, 14 and 12. Chris came into our life about 3 years ago, so we're going through the process of adoption with him. He's from East Africa. And I'm a professional, I guess 17 years in corporate experience, and launched off in my own practice 3 years ago. So I guess in 3 years, I had the audacity to create 3 businesses in 3 years. So I look forward to sharing more about each of those with you.
Yes, so when you decided to leave the corporate world and pursue your own thing, what did you do?
So in the story, the first book, Dream Boldly, I Dare You, I talk about where belief in yourself and bold moves meet. So basically, it had been about 5 years that I was building the practice on the side and supporting different people, so more individuals, as long as it wasn't in conflict with my role. So it wasn't in financial services that I was supporting. So I was enjoying, supporting a professor out west or supporting a lawyer in Toronto. And, it was interesting to be able to be a positive impact to so many different kind of industries and organizations. And I was in financial services for 17 years. So it was a perfect opportunity for me when the coaching department got put together at my last role for me to just launch off. And so when I say where belief in yourself and bold moves meet, we sold our house in Oakville and we moved here, and we made sure that all of the pieces were in play to make it happen and to make sure it was sustainable. So
awesome. And so that is a bold move. Those are a few bold moves.
Yeah.
So when you launched off, you created Jimbere Coaching and Consulting. Is that correct?
That's right.
Can you tell us exactly what it is that you do within Jimbere Coaching and Consulting?
Yeah, so I do business coaching and leadership coaching. So somebody might want to work on their executive presence, and they don't always want to do that internally. They want a confidant outside of the HR department or their prescribed mentor inside their large organization. And so we might talk from time to time about, how did that situation go, and how would you like to have seen it go, and what would you do differently next time? And, it gives them an opportunity to have a sounding board, as well as, somebody that can support them to build that presence that they're looking to create. And then as a business coach, I work with, small to medium-sized businesses, and we look at where are you today? What's today's reality? What's the goal? And how do we close the gap and take you through a process to get you to those goals?
That's awesome. And so do you...
Part. So I also do change management consulting and consulting on workplace wellness. So, embedding positive psychology practices inside of businesses to support it to, be a thriving business.
Is that it?
And then I do some workshops from time to time. I do coaching clinic workshops. So that helps bring the coaching competencies inside of organizations, because a lot of times people are rolling out coaching into their company and not teaching what that looks like. So that's what the coaching clinic does, as well as extended disc workshop. And
can you tell people, because a lot of people are talking about coaches. There are a lot of coaches out there right now, and there's a misconception of exactly what a coach does. And the other day when I was talking to you about it, you had a really good explanation of what a coach does versus what a mentor will do versus the other roles that people play. So can you talk to the audience a little bit about that?
Absolutely, because there was a time when I actually supported the difference between those things inside the organization I was supporting. Because they had a training department, and I went in as a senior academic training leader for Canada. So as a trainer, what you do is you teach, you tell. So if you come out to a workshop, somebody's going to share information with you. So they are, teaching you the things that you need to do. So that's a trainer. A mentor is someone who has maybe been where you're going and can guide you, can provide you with advice and maybe the right connections to get you to where you want to go. And then we wanted to divide the difference between training, where you come to an event and you learn, and coaching, where you help to implement the things that you've learned. So a coach is going to ask you, so Jen, you went to a workshop yesterday. What were the key takeaways for you? If you were to tell me 3, what would they be?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when we look at the first takeaway that you have, what is today's reality around your effort and impact on that thing? What is the goal? How do we create a plan to get you focused to achieving that goal?
Okay. And so a coach is going to be asking a lot of questions.
Exactly. Yeah, not prescribing things where potentially a trainer or a mentor would do so.
Right. Thank you. I think a lot of people don't really understand what the difference is. And a lot of people might be going to see someone and that person is acting more of a mentor than they are a coach. And it's causing some frustration because they're like, well, why aren't I moving forward? And it's because the person that they've hired as a coach is not actually coaching them.
100%. And I think that that's rampant right now in our industry and online, that so many people are just slapping that label of coach up and really confusing the industry without having the right background, the right training, the right understanding of what it is they're doing. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome. Excellent. And then, so that's Jimbere Coaching and Consulting. And then there is Radical Joy Seeking Women's Club and the Radical Adventures. So can you talk to us about that?
So I had completed a course through UC Berkeley last year sometime. I think it was around April or May. And so I was on Facebook and I saw this group called Radical Joy Seeking Women. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So I went over and found the page and then started sharing information because I love kind of sharing what I know with others. So I'd share, some kind of fact from the Greater Good Society or something, some practice like loving kindness meditation. And then I'd post an inspirational graphic. And the owner of the page was like, who is this woman who's all up in my group? So Trudy scheduled a call with me, and the first call obviously was supposed to be like 30 minutes to get to know each other and stuff. And then we turned it into a next call and a next call, and then it was like a 2-hour call. And we kind of looked at her vision for what that was going to be, which was going to be one small part on her site to bring in guest experts from time to time. And then by call 4, that vision was kind of blown out of the water, and we were partnering with Marcipal in Iceland as our health and wellness expert, with Trudy in California as our relationship expert, and with me in Canada. So basically my areas of focus there are leadership development, change management, flourishing financially. So sharing knowledge with people in a subscription place that you can go to get knowledge and just pull off what you need. So there's guest experts and there's resources and lessons inside the club. And our mission is empowering women worldwide to take their personal growth to heart.
Nice. And so how could somebody get involved with that if they wanted to be part of Radical Seeking Joy Women? Radical Joy Seeking Women, sorry.
No, that's okay. So basically they would join us either inside the Facebook page to kind of see what we share, or they would visit www.radicaljoyseekingwomen.com and join us to, help support them on their journey to joy, because that looks different for all of us.
Yes, it does. What would you say would be some of the keys to seeking that joy, seeking out that joy within? Because a lot of times people are seeking joy outside, but from conversations that we've had, we're kind of on the same page that it has to come from within.
Absolutely. And I think it's an invitation to people to be flossom. So, you belong to you. You are creative, capable, wise, and good. And so how are you looking at your life? So what is the perception of your life? And how do we not compare ourselves? And how do we define what joy looks like for ourselves? Because joy for one person could be, I'm here in the morning with my kids, seeing them off, and I see them when they get in from school, and that's joy to me, that I'm not, missing, that I'm not missing the moments with them, right? Joy to another person could be, I'm traveling with my laptop and living the life that I would like to create. So we try to share resources and tools and experts to help them.
Awesome. And you said that you can be found on Facebook, and there's also a website.
Yes. Yeah.
Can you share those handles one more time for people
Yeah.
so they can
So
go
it's
check it out?
Radical Joy Seeking Women. And then the website is www.radicaljoyseekingwomen.com.
Awesome. And we will make sure to have that put up in the comment section so that people are able to find you easily. And
Awesome.
then on top of that, you have also you have also co-created another business.
Yeah, with somebody who's okay.
Yeah, I think she's pretty okay too. You've co-created Thrive Experts. Can you tell us about Thrive Experts?
Yeah, so basically, we had an opportunity last summer, and we brought together our collective knowledge with 40 years in psychology and human performance and built out some business training modules because we thought it was important to kind of share those skills that others seem to know, and we need to share those things because sometimes business owners are experts in their thing, like experts in manufacturing, experts in healthcare, but they don't know all of the elements of leadership and customer service and sales and marketing and all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the privilege of working on a project together, and then what was planned was switched, and so we wanted to make the most of it and put together even more workshops and training pieces to help people be better than good. So the objective is to support and share success strategies for life, relationships, and business.
Yes. And what are some of the primary programs for people to get involved with living their life better than good?
Absolutely. So we have the Thrive think tank that'll be opening soon. So I'd love to spend a little bit of time talking about that.
Sure.
And then keynote workshops. So we have the Thrive program, we have emotional intelligence workshop, and the psychology of performance for leaders, and emotional intelligence lunch and learn. So we're looking forward to bringing a few of those in to some local businesses, whether it's social services or education systems or financial institutions, bringing that content out to others to help them operate above the line.
Yes, because in psychology, people, you say it beautifully, and I apologize if I muck it up, but psychology brings you to the line, it gets you operating, and the Thrive Experts help you live above the line.
Exactly. Yeah. So traditional psychology really focuses on getting people to operational, right? So that's the line that you're describing. And then positive psychology, or the science of well-being, says, Jen, if you're operating a 5, how do we get you to a 7? What are some practices you can put into play for your business and life to get you to a 7? If you're a 7, hey, what's the opportunity to get you to a 9, right? So that we're helping you get above the line. And if you think about some of the key performance indicators inside of businesses and organizations, there is a line, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's low expectation, there's meeting expectation, and there's exceeding expectation. So we want to work with people who are serious professionals and care about their success.
Exactly. Now, I want to get to the think tank, but before we do, because I want to spend some time on that, recently in the news, in the world, there have been some tragedies that have happened. And we have talked with schools with regards to bringing emotional intelligence to our kids, because it's really important that they learn how to manage themselves and be aware of themselves. Because unfortunately, that's just not happening, as evidenced by the things that we're seeing out in the world. And so what are your thoughts with regards to not only emotional intelligence with the students and the teachers, but third alternative thinking as well, and getting that out there?
I mean, I think it's really important that we teach self-regulation, that we teach awareness, that we teach the belief in yourself, as we talk about, right? So, if, for example, somebody does come at you with something, because, the kids are dealing with new and different things that even, one generation away, we weren't exposed to it. So online bullying, all of these different things. So if we build the resilience and if we build the belief in themselves, then, those things can kind of bounce off. It's almost like creating a bubble around the kid, but not quite. So I'm not talking about you put the kid in a bubble and he's never ever exposed to it. What I'm talking about is if you create a protective layer around that child so that when somebody says something, they go, oh, yeah, that's not how I see it. Thanks for your opinion. And they just walk away, right? So awareness, ability to have confidence, to have coping strategies so that they don't choose harmful ways to cope with stress and overwhelm, because as we know, we're all going to encounter stress. So we need to give them the right tools and resources to be able to cope and, to understand what are their strengths, how can they communicate those strengths, how can they be aware of who they are.
Yeah. And do you have any theories of why things have gotten as far as they have? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot a little bit, but I know emotional intelligence, positive psychology, those are very important to you and in your practice, and you live it, like you live it. So can you just talk to people about what exactly it is? Because some people might not even know, what is this emotional intelligence? What is third alternative? What's positive psychology? What's that?
Yeah, so really, in order to have effective third alternative conversations, it means that the world isn't all about me, right? So when we get into this kind of immediate satisfaction society where when I post something up, I need to have 200 likes and I need to have all kinds of comments about the right shade of lipstick that I had on. And oh my gosh, if somebody says my hair was off, now my world crumbles. We have to give them a sense of resilience and confidence, and I think that's something we need to work on now more than we ever did, because third alternative thinking and acting that way means it's not all about me. It's about you have a way of going about this thing, if it's a decision or if it's a project. Let's use project as an example, right? Because now kids are being partnered together for their projects. And so if they come into that project with that egotistical view of, no, this is how we're going to do it, and the other person just kind of gives in, they've only used one way of thinking. But instead, we want them to think of, this is my idea, this is your idea. So if we were to look at both of those ideas, are you open to understanding what another idea is, a higher way of being? So if you picture that as a project, imagine your child, every time they were partnered with someone in school, coming home saying, I hate working with that person, I hate working with that person, I hate working with, and you say, well, what's going on? Why do you hate? Well, because they don't listen to me, because they don't want to do what I want to do. Okay, so you just said they don't want to do what you want to do. So we have to have conversations with them that's not realistic in the real world, that everybody would just do what you want to do. Right?
And third alternative thinking is not necessarily compromise. It's not people bending what they want for something else. It's like a whole new idea that they both sides come up with.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like I'm seeking synergy. So when I have my idea and you have your idea, we're going to look at what are the options and then what are the potential solutions. And then in the end, the output of that conversation is something new. So it's not your idea, it's not my idea, it's something new, which is the best of those two ideas.
Yeah. Now, could you imagine if we lived in a world where our kids were able to work things out like that? That would just be amazing, right?
Yep.
Now, one of the things that I am very passionate about is children learn from what they see, because I believe you can tell a kid things over and over and over again. It doesn't necessarily stick, but if you show them, because they're watching, they watch everything. And if we show them, then that is what's going to stick. And so for me, the conversations that I like to have with the school board is, how do we get the teachers?
Yes.
How do we get the teachers to demonstrate third alternative thinking and to show and to live the emotional intelligence that we're talking?
Exactly, because if you're in the moment with a child who is aggravating you, who is challenging you, how are you reacting to that? Are you saying, I understand you're frustrated right now. I just need to go to break. And when we get back in, you and I will have this conversation, right? Instead of allowing it to continue to elevate. Because when you allow that child who's already aggravated and might be dealing with a lot of things to continue to elevate, it only gets worse. And so if we could teach them strategies like the citrine that we use, right?
That's a rock. It's a rock.
A mini guided meditation, right? In your pocket, you can have a citrine, which is, it's like a rock that's orange in color, and it's called the merchant stone. And so if we were to give them a strategy like that, or if we were to invite in, mini meditation in school, in the classroom, or there's a great video out there with a teacher who starts her class with like special handshakes for each child, right? I'm sure you've seen that one. It's just a way of acknowledging, that they are individuals, that they are unique, and that we're there for them.
Yeah, and I've actually watched a few documentaries on some schools in the States actually adopting emotional intelligence within the school, and how it has completely changed the culture of the school.
100%. And it would, because if you think about it, it's not just the teacher and the student, it's the teacher and the teacher. It's the teacher and the principal. It's the school and the administration. It's so many elements that can be impacted when we understand new strategies, when we seek self-awareness, when we are guided to be able to go through things differently. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So now let's kind of move into the think tank.
Okay.
Something that we were talking about, something that's very exciting, actually. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we want a program that isn't just you come in for a day or two and good luck, right? I mean, it's great when you take time out of the whirlwind of your business to come to a seminar or a workshop or anything like that and get some new strategies, right? Like pause, let the activity stay behind, and learn. The challenge with just doing that is that you're not sure how well you can sustain that new learning. So if you're in a 6-month mastermind with other people who are focused on success, who can be your board of directors to say, Jen, I did that before, and here's what happened, and here's what I learned. So you can shorten the curve to when you want to go and do the thing that they know how to do. You've already got, 3 people around that table saying, this is what I would do now if I was to do it again. If I started over, here's what I'd do, right? So the think tank is there to focus on the 4 disciplines of execution with a board of directors around you to shorten the learning curve to you achieving the success you're after.
And one of the beauties of this think tank is that everybody doesn't have to be living in the same vicinity, correct?
Exactly. So it's a virtual think tank where once a month you're going to get together with that large group and say, hey guys, here's what I said I was going to do. Here's what I did. Here's what I need to do next. Here's what I need your help for. And everybody around that table who has your success in mind will say, that's not my area of expertise. Punt, and it goes over to Shelley, who knows that area and who can maybe make a connection for you to support you in what it is you're trying to go after, right?
Awesome. And people can learn more about Thrive Experts and Think Tank by going where?
www.thriveexperts.com, 1 E. So thriveexperts.com, thriveexperts.com, 1 E. Yes.
Perfect. So you are a lover of books, as we can see behind you, right?
Yes.
You have books everywhere. You advertise books.
And there's some more over there on the table. Yep, they're everywhere.
They're everywhere. And you love to learn. That is something that I have come to learn about you. Can you explain where this love might have come from and how it's actually supported you in what you do?
Well, I mean, if I could be a full-time student right now, I probably would be, because And to answer your question about how that happened, I have no idea. I finished high school early. I went to university. When I finished the first degree, I wanted to learn more. I was like, okay, well, it's neat that I learned about sociology and criminology and, psychology, but what else can I learn? It's just, I think it's one of the great books that kind of probably feeds that is curious. I think I'm just curious. I think I love to learn and I love to share what it is I'm learning, right? Because not everybody has that same passion to read, 100 books a year. So if I have that information and somebody shares a scenario with me, I'll go, oh, 4 Agreements. That's a great book. You should read that. And they're like, what? Yeah, because that book would support you in what you're going through right now. And they're appreciative. And so I'm of support and I love it.
Awesome. And you're taking some courses right now.
Yes, I've taken a course through Harvard X called The Science of Everyday Thinking. And I'm taking another course through the University of Queensland. And that course is learning for leaders.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And there'll be another couple of courses that'll come through the year for sure.
And what books are you currently reading that you would recommend for the viewers?
So every week inside my business page, Jimbere Coaching and Consulting, I feature a book. And so this week it's Third Alternative Thinking, because it was a great opportunity for me to kind of share fresh what we talked about in yesterday's workshop, which was Third Alternative Thinking with Emotional Intelligence. Current second book is Braving the Wilderness by Brene Brown, because I have book club this Friday night. So we'll be talking about that one. I got to finish that up. And I would say the other book that I'm reading right now is Presence. So I think that that's an area, because we all have these areas that we need to develop and work on. Presence, meaning mindfulness and quieting the mind, is something that I'm absolutely continuing to try and work on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. And you're also an author.
Yeah. So 2016, around Christmas time, Dream Boldly, I Dare You, the first one came out. And that book is helping people unlock 100 dreams. So Carrie on the site, dreamboldly.org, has a template that you can download, figuring out what are 100 dreams that you have and how do we support you to unlock them, right? So it's interesting because that first group of authors that came together, there's this small group that we have and everybody shares these different things that they've been able to bring to life. And it's super cool seeing it all come together. And then Thanksgiving 2017, Dream Boldly, I Dare You 2 came out, and that one's subtitle is Manifest Miracles on Demand. So that story was about free your possibilities. So the first one was Where Belief in Yourself and Bold Moves Meet, and that was about the launch of the business. And the second one is Free Your Possibilities. And basically it's an invitation for others to take life a little bit more seriously, because there are dreams that are inside and there's a hero inside there that can help you achieve those goals. So it's an invitation for them to manifest miracles on demand. And there's an online e-course that goes with that book. You get a code for it in the book.
Oh, very nice. And how can people get a personalized copy from you?
Oh, send me a personalized message. I'd love to write out your name and sign it and send it to you in the mail. Basically, it's $27 plus shipping. And I'll personalize either one of those and send you and maybe a loved one a copy out so that you read those books. It's really intended for someone to either start their day with a story or end their day with a story for 31 days. Yeah, so it's kind of like a month's worth of inspiration to kind of have you think about what are these possibilities for me.
Awesome. And where can they go to get that?
So either send me a message at Jennifer@Jimbere Coaching and Consulting, and or send me a direct message inside Facebook. That works too. I'll be happy to respond and see what I can do to personalize the copy and get it out to you.
Awesome. Okay, so I am going to Facebook now to see if there's anybody that has any questions.
I see John's with us. Hey, John, how are you doing tonight? And then Angie's with us. I know Angela joined, Dawn joined, Kim. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us.
Yes, I see them here.
Oh, Tracy just joined too. Thank you very much, Tracy.
Great. Now, anybody that's watching, do you have any questions at all? Jennifer is a wealth of information, a wealth of information. And the wonderful thing is, if she doesn't have the answer, she knows who does and where you can go to get it. So if anybody has any questions that are business related or just about positive psychology or about emotional intelligence, about seeking joy within, and please ask your question. Ask away, ask away. I'm seeing lots of hearts and lots of thumbs up. Thank you so much, guys.
Well, we'll give it another minute, just see if anybody has a question. So maybe you can think of another one that we can kind of fill the time to give them some time.
No problem. So what's on the horizon for you now? I mean, you have 3 businesses that are thriving, and you have 2 books, 2 best-selling books, not even just books, but 2 international best-selling books. What's the next thing for Jennifer Jimbere? What are you going to do next?
I think that we are going to share the Thrive formula with people, because we've developed it over the last 6 months, thinking, about what does it take, right? So dissecting performance and dissecting others who are thriving to figure out what are the elements that actually create thriving. So I think we need to share that. I think the Thrive formula needs to get out into the world. And then also, you and I talk a lot about how does behavior, so different behavior styles, affect people's behavior, affect the natural communication that goes on inside their head, and how do we support them to be better than good? How do we help them learn the strategies that help them operate above the line, right?
Yeah.
So it'll I'm sure be mixed with psychology, positive psychology, emotional intelligence, extended disc, and all kinds of great information to support people.
I've always been fascinated with human behavior, always been fascinated with human behavior and why we do the things we do. I remember driving my ex-husband crazy. That might be why we're exes. But seriously, because I always wanted to know why. Like, why are you doing this? Or why would that person say that? Or what would prompt someone to want to act in that way? And just always asking the question, kind of like you in the sense of curious, just very curious about human behavior and why people do. And I am always able to trace it back to something. Yeah. There's always a reason for why people choose to do what they do. I don't believe that there's just, they just do it. There's something back there that's fueling those choices. So I've always been fascinated with that.
And I think that's the exciting part about our partnership, because as good coaches, what you want to do is focus on reality. So what is today's reality and what is the goal? So how do we get you to the goal? But the beauty of the partnership is that we now also have the opportunity to go, okay, wait, there's a block. So what is that block? What happened? How do we dig a little bit to uncover it and then try to reprogram, right? Because there's new pathways that we can create in our brain. And sometimes it's the dialogue that we have and it was prescribed to us environmentally, or it's something that we've just learned. It's a learned way of looking at the world, right? It's the lens that we see the world through. Yeah. And the book, The How of Happiness by Sonia Lyubomirsky talks about the pieces of the pie that we are responsible for. And 50% of the pie through intentional activities and circumstance, the way we respond to circumstance, are within our control to create happiness, right?
Yes. Yeah, I find it fascinating. And so I'm really glad that we have this partnership, and I'm really excited to see how Thrive Experts impacts the world. But not only that, and here's a little bit of selfishness here, I find that I am learning so much about myself. I thought I was a fairly aware type of person, but I'm learning so much about myself through this process of expanding Thrive Experts. It's just an amazing thing.
Yeah, so between the Thrive think tank, where we're going to operate several of them across North America, and in that we're going to understand who performs, right? We're going to do a little bit of observation to make sure that everyone receives the same level of support, but based on their behavior style, do certain people act on things faster than others? Do they execute it in a different way that allows them to achieve that success. And then, you know, all through the keynote, meeting all kinds of people, you know, around the world, not just North America. I think it'll be to be of support and share all of the knowledge that we've acquired over our collective 40 years experience.
Yes. So Angela is here. She said, I learned and am learning to ask questions of myself without emotion. And so that's really important, to kind of be able to take that, look at yourself like a bird's eye view of yourself, and ask yourself certain questions that might discover things that aren't necessarily the most beautiful things about you, right? They might be somewhat challenging or provide an opportunity to grow, right? But to be able to do that without having the emotion behind it, but just seeing it for what it is, right?
Oh, I have a strategy that I'd love to share. So
yes.
She's picked up some strategies since our Thrive party that she's working on in that area. Can I give you another tip? I'll just share you another.
For sure.
So if, for example, you're able to focus on the facts, not emotion, that's one piece. But if you could tell a story based on a situation, tell it first person, and then tell it second person, and then tell it as though you're a reporter. So if I say, this is what happened and here's how it impacted me, a lot of times it's hard to take the emotion out. But if you tell it from the other person's side, so that's whoever you're in constructive disagreement with, then tell it from their side. And then once you've done that, step yourself out of the situation and try to report on it as though you're looking down on the situation, and see how you might view it a little bit differently, right?
That is an excellent strategy. Excellent strategy. Try that. For those of you that are watching right now, try it, and then please message us to let us know how that goes, or message Jennifer, I should say, and ask her, or let her know how it went, because that's an excellent strategy, one that I believe I will implement.
Nice. The other is the 90-second scorecard. So she has said, since the Thrive Party, I've put some work in that area, and she's learned to ask questions. So another strategy might be, when you're in the emotion of a situation and you're having a hard time moving to a solution, you're resonating about it, you're like, you know, you're constantly just thinking through it all, take a blank sheet of paper, write a line down the middle. On the left side, write the problem, whatever the problem is. And on the, did I just say right side?
You said left side.
Okay, perfect. On the right side, write solution. And within 90 seconds, so literally put a timer on your phone, write out the problem. Here's what happened. Here's how I felt. Here's who it impacted. Like, just write out all of the problem. And then after 90 seconds, so set a timer on your phone, then move your pen to the right side and find the solution. So you're no longer looking at that left side, because that's what's been done. We want to focus on, where is the solution?
The solution focused.
That's where you have.
Awesome.
Do that enough, and you're actually going to train your brain to find the solution faster.
Yeah. And the brain is very trainable. Some people think that, well, I am the way I am. No. If you want to change, you can. It just takes purposeful effort.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I am looking at the time. It is 9:40. The time flies, doesn't it? It just flies. So thank you so much, Jennifer, for being on here tonight with us. Just to remind everybody, Jennifer is the owner of Jimbere Coaching and Consulting. She's a co-owner of Radical Joy Seeking Women's Club. And you want to say something about Radical Adventures?
Oh, yes, we're going to Alaska. So we are creating a beautiful 5-day, 4-night retreat at a luxury spot in Alaska. And it's going to be all that sounds like. It's going to be fine dining, yoga by the mountains. It's going to be phenomenal. So sisterhood, you know, coming together by the fire and sharing and learning and growing together.
And it will be beautiful, because I was born up north.
Yep.
And the evenings, like with the lights in the sky, beautiful. And I can just imagine it across the water and the mountains. Oh, yeah. I can just, it sounds like it's going to be amazing. Sounds like
it's going to be a dream. Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she is also the co-owner of Thrive Experts with me. So thank you everyone for coming on tonight. Thank you for your comments. We really appreciate them. And we ask that, watch this video again and implement some of the strategies that Jennifer shared, because they will support you. And Jennifer is all about supporting. So if you have any questions after this, then please contact her. I will make sure to have her information in the comment section. Jennifer, again, thank you for being here. So appreciate you. And we will be back next week. See you guys.
Thank you.